Welcome back to the show, everybody. I've got a big question for everyone today before we get out of here. And I have to say, there are sweeping moves happening all across the space in crypto, whether it's regulation or whether it's institutions moving into crypto or Bitcoin. But there is massive things happening on the payment rail front today, and we need to get into that right now. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. I want to start right here, just looking at the market really quickly here. We see that we're just under $1 trillion in the market here, and we have to get right into it because, look, XRP is 27 cents. As far as I'm concerned, it's a fire sale. It's a blue light special, and it's XRP. And I'm looking right here, and the first piece of news we have is from BondCrypt. Gen X investors overtake millennials in crypto adoption, WireX and Stellar report. According to the research, younger generation is rapidly moving towards digital assets seamlessly to transact across borders. Well, it doesn't stop there because here we have Cryptic Poet telling us Ripple partner Novati just announced that its Visa prepaid cards are now supported by Apple Pay. This is just remarkable. When I see the outer fringe of companies that are partnered with Ripple start to connect to major networks like Visa and Apple Pay and things of this nature, I really start to raise a real question. I'm going to ask you here in just a second. But it goes even further because here we have MoneyGram from James Rule XRP expands the real-time digital P2P payments with Visa Direct through checkout.com partnership. Now, this is really, really interesting to me because, again, we just saw right here Novati and the Visa and the Apple Pay, right? And Novati's a partner of Ripple. MoneyGram expanding digital payments, P2P payments, peer-to-peer payments, Visa Direct through checkout.com. Now, this is exciting, but it gets even better. Cross-border CBDC DLT projects planned by Central Bank Innovation Hub. This comes from 432 XRP Hertz. And this is interesting to me because we know about the BIS Innovation Hub, and the BIS has now outlined a roadmap with central banks, which includes several digital currencies planned in payments and settlement. So let's take a look at this for a second. Because here we have today the BIS Innovation Hub outlined its roadmap to work with central banks, which includes several central bank digital currency projects, as well as distributed ledger technology solution for retail green bonds. Really? Wow. As well as a digital ledger technology solution for retail green bonds. That is interesting. That is an interesting thought. It'd be interesting to see what comes out of that. But I tell you, I'm interested to see what we get when it comes to bonds and a bond market in this digital space. 4 projects were outlined, 2 new initiatives, and 3 are for wholesale CBDCs or bank-to-bank usage. Now, before we go on, because this is serious, we need to get into this part in this article here because it is important. Remember, the BIS is the central bank of central banks, and they have been working with the Federal Reserve out of New York, as well as many other central banks around the world on this initiative. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight here is that they stress here the majority of these projects are wholesale CBDC, bank-to-bank usage. One thing I wanted to say about that is that when you think about wholesale or back-end versus front-end retail, I would expect to see the adoption happen faster in the wholesale back end because it's a smaller network. It's a smaller connection. Now, there's still, tons of things that have to be done. I'm sure of that. But when you're talking about handling something back end, like for instance, let's just say the whole central banking system and building a private network for all the CBDCs to run on back and forth between the central banks. That is as difficult a task as you can imagine, but it's even bigger a task to imagine doing a back end and front end where the CBDC is not only just wholesale for the central banking financial system and a private network there, but then to have it also reach out to retail and go consumer to consumer. That's unimaginable. I mean, the task at hand to get that completed has got to be enormous. But my point is about all of this is that if we go down into here, you will see, and shout out to Shane Nixon because I saw this and he did too. And it is what stuck out in my mind when I read it. Here in the wholesale, in one of the tests, it says turning to wholesale CBDCs. The first is the ongoing project Helvetia experiments with the Swiss National Bank, where there was a trial to connect the digital exchange SIX with a wholesale CBDC to enable instant settlement for blockchain transactions. Listen to what's next. Next is a platform to settle cross-border payments using multiple wholesale CBDCs. Does that sound like anything you may know of? I don't know. The XRP ledger? This new project is for an international settlement platform onto which multiple central banks could issue wholesale CBDCs. The aim is for banks and payment service providers to use this for settlement purposes. It doesn't say Ripple. It doesn't say XRP, but I know it's jumping off the page at me. I can tell you that. And I don't know of another network company or token that is in a better position to be able to satisfy all points to be able to work this test and to be able to even perform this. So this doesn't say Ripple. It doesn't say XRP, but it does say to me that something is coming. A solution is coming. And just quickly, if I could, I'm reminded when I see things like this of the World Economic Forum, right? And how last January they cited XRP for wholesale back-end settlement between the central banking system for central bank digital currencies. So you could see why one could be compelled to think maybe there's an opportunity for XRP and the ledger to be used here. I'm also reminded of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the fact that they call XRP a virtual currency, and last July passed an amended rule that made it effective to use Ripple and XRP for settlement in the banking and credit union system for cross-border payments. How much more do we need to see? Well, I'll give you one more thing, and then I'm going to ask you a question. But listen to this.
I mean, certainly we do know of central banks looking at the XRP ledger as open source technology to issue stablecoins using the XRP ledger.
There you go. And here they're telling you from the BIS, the central bank of central banks, that they're looking to do exactly the same thing here. Next is a platform to settle cross-border payments using multiple CBDCs or issued stablecoins in this new project for an international settlement platform on which the multiple central banks could issue wholesale CBDCs. The thing that really makes all of this compelling for me, when I really look at all the information we've looked at, is that while this moment is happening, we see Visa connecting with Apple Pay and Navidi or however you say it, Ripple partner connecting with all of those things. And we see MoneyGram expanding now into P2P digital payments with Visa. You see all of this back-end financial payment providers and financial institutions connecting these infrastructures together with one another for a level playing field, as it looks like. When I see all of this, the thing that really sticks out at me, and the question I have is why is it that institutions and banks and payment providers and all of the things that we just looked at moving towards this new digital financial system, and retail investors are getting locked out in the United States? You think that's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence that the news I just went over with you is happening right now while U.S. retail investors are getting the squeeze? I don't know about you, but something is afoot. Something stinks in Denmark and it ain't the fish. Maybe it's the pizza. I don't know. Maybe it's XRP. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure to check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. There's some really great products and services in there for anything you may want or need. And they are trusted, vetted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.